year is we would like every unit to have an ACH form on file. The reason why we're doing this comes to membership. You are no longer, as of July 1st, going to be able to use credits. At the end of the month, you guys, if you have a credit, are you getting your money back? No longer are we holding your money all year long. So that money will be deposited via ACH. If we do not have an ACH form on file, then we will hold your money until the end of the year, unless we get one. Then you get a check at the end of the year. So we're just asking that you guys get them in. There's a form online under Unit Treasurer. There's a letter. Click on the link and it'll take you there. Hit submit and it comes directly to me. The money will be deposited into your guys' account roughly the first week of the month. So this is where you guys need to work with your membership, and your membership will get the MCR. They will let you know how much money is getting deposited in your account. So you gotta be friends. You gotta have a little kumbaya with your membership and your treasurer if you're not the same person. So
can you repeat the name of the form again?
Yeah.
it's an ACH form. It's your direct deposit form. When you guys registered, if you were not told that you did not have an ACH form on file, that means we already have it. So there are a handful, so we're just trying to get them all. So some of the things is, part of the reason is when I go ahead, I have a unit that has not cashed a check in over a year. I've sent them letters, I have not heard anything from them. I cannot do anything with that check because what happens if they find that check? So we just want you guys to have your money immediately, no chance of getting lost in the mail. Since COVID happened, if anybody works with Postal Service, I'm sorry, I can't trust the Postal Service. I can't trust anything anymore. Everything takes forever to get there. So we want to get it to you guys quickly and efficiently.
And cash is okay?
Huh?
Cash
We do
is
not
okay.
take cash for anything.
So it has to be ACH,
ACH,
July
yes.
1st.
That's money coming to the unit. We're giving you the credit that you have for your membership at the end of the month.
Oh,
It doesn't matter if it's $1, you guys are getting it. That is your guys, that is the unit's money, you will get it at the end.
Someone signs up online.
Yes,
you're
and a
gonna
lot of
get
it comes
$10
from your
credit.
online renewals, yes. So that's where a lot of I'm finding that the credits are, is online renewals. Yeah. Yeah, what else did I miss? I think there was something else, I feel like there was something else. Oh, so, and if you guys don't have a credit at the end of the month, and you owe us, we are going to invoice you. So what I'm in the process of doing is all the ACH forms that get filled out online have a unit treasurer and a unit treasurer name and an email. I'm going to be reaching out to each one of you through your email, making sure that, is this the correct email? And then once it is, then I'll know to go ahead and set everything up. So that way I'm not gonna just go ahead and set something up and put money into somebody's account without verifying that it's you guys. So that way you guys have any questions. If you guys, so in July, we do quotas. So we invoice all the units. Those will now be coming to that unit treasurer via email. Any statements will be coming via email. We are trying to go 100% electronic. At least I am on my end. So I don't want to be mailing anything out, getting stuff lost. We've had units that mailed stuff out here for convention, and we still haven't gotten it. So we're just trying to keep it.
To the treasurer's email.
Yes, ma'am. Yep. Whatever the unit treasurer email has. If I don't get a response to the unit treasurer email that was submitted with the ACH form, I will then turn around and look at the newest officers list because they could have changed. I will reach out to that one. If I don't get a response then, I will reach out to your unit president. If I do not get a response, I will reach out to your district president, chain of command. So, I feel like I talked a lot faster.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So if there's been a change of officers, there needs to be a new ACH form completed? Is that what?
If the unit treasurer changed.
If the treasurer changed?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, no, I am sorry. No, I do not need a new ACH form. I will need a new officers list. We can pull it from there.
Okay.
Yes. As long as your bank information doesn't change. If your bank information changes, you need to let us know immediately. You need to fill out a new form. If you don't fill out a new form and I submit a credit to you guys and it gets bounced back, that's gonna cost you guys $50. So any changes to your bank information, we need to know ASAP. So, and that's just filling the form out online. Yes, ma'am.
So if you invoice us, we're gonna pay it by check still? You're not gonna pay it out of our bank
We,
account yet?
right now, it is check. We are working on getting it so you can pay it online. And it will be via check information or a unit credit card, debit card. But we're working on that. We will let you guys know. So right now, anything that is owed to department has to come by a check. And with the ACH forms, the direct deposit, we can only direct deposit. We cannot withdraw from any of your accounts. So if anybody's worried about that, we cannot. Our system is not set up that way. Any other questions on what is expected from department? Membership will be getting the same notification that I'm sending out. So. Are you, Miss Nana, are you ready for the nitty gritty?
Sure. I get the fun part.
She gets the fun part.
As I said before to the earlier group, a lot of you do not know me. My name's Lontakos. I was on your finance committee for 4 years because I got the extra bonus COVID. And now I'm your risk and compliance. In 2021, 2022, National started a chair for the risk and compliance so that we could look at and be able to monitor what's going on with our different units across the United States, where they're in compliance, where they're not in compliance. If they have 2 EINs, if they haven't filed a 990. And so now we're starting to look at that on the unit level, on department level, to bring it to your units. We want you all to be compliant. We don't want you to have to deal with the IRS, the Department of Revenue, or the Department of Solicitations, or Department of Agriculture for solicitations, or even the Division of Corporations. Those are the 4 areas that you have to watch out every single year. We're going to start with the Division of the Department of Agriculture. We want to thank Kathy Coughlin, who has been doing this book previously. But seeing it hadn't been updated in 2 years, there were a lot of things that had to be updated. They were either not the appropriate websites, they were not the email addresses. And one of the biggest things that came up was that units were no longer, instead of renewing their permits, they were saying, no, we're under the American Legion. American Legion is titled by the U.S. Congress. We are not a department, we are not a chapter, we are not a division of the Legion. And we found out that people were saying that they were under the Legion, and for most of us, because of the up to $50,000 worth of revenue, there's no fee to register. All it is to fill out an informational reporting document that the state and the IRS work for to make sure that their exempt organizations are staying in compliance. It's now a new form. It just was released the end of last year. Instead of being the voluminous one big form, now they broke it up into 2. Some of the categories are more specified in there, which will make it easier for some people. And
Is that just for the women's auxiliary, or is that for
yes,
the?
no, the men are completely separate. They are chartered, like I said, we are not chartered under the Legion. They are not required.
I didn't realize this was for just the auxiliary.
This is just the auxiliary.
Thank you.
They are not, they are not required, we are.
Okay.
And one of the things that people forget is that, okay, the IRS is the one that really grants us our exemption to our National American Legion Auxiliary. We are chapters under them, not the Legion. One of the requirements is the IRS is that you also have to stay completely in compliance with the state that your unit is in. So in our case, it's Florida. So that means we have to register with the Department of Corporations. We want you to be incorporated, not an LLC, not anything else. We want you to be incorporated. We want you to have a solicitation permit. Some units have told me, oh, we don't solicit. Puppies. Membership. When you're going out asking a new member to join, you're soliciting. So that's why, in order to stay in compliance with the IRS, we also have to stay in compliance with the state. And there's a lot of other little wiggles in there too. But your sales tax, that was another one that was incorrect in the book. You do not renew your sales tax exemption. When they issue it, it is a 5-year permit. The state and the IRS work together to make sure that all of our little exempt nonprofit organizations are in compliance. They can send you a notice prior to your renewal at December 31st, saying that you are no longer in compliance, you have to do this, this, and that before you'll get your sales tax exemption back again. You will be notified, but you don't have to do anything. You don't have to reach out to the Department of Revenue. That they do on their own. Everyone okay with that? Pardon?
That's how people get confused. If they do it automatically, then why would they send you something? That's why I think that people apply when they don't need to.
Right.
Because they mail them something.
Right. If you haven't received a notice from them, you go on the DOR's website, put in your full unit's full name, not that you're unit 335 from Holiday. You put in whatever name you're registered. You put in your EIN number. It will take you to print my certificate. And all you have to do is print it. And it's good for another 5 years.
I think we have everything you've just talked about, except our solicitation permit. We've never heard of a solicitation.
Okay. The Department of Agriculture.
But we have that. I mean, we do.
That is your that is your
Okay,
solicitation
thank you
permit.
for
When
clarifying.
after you've gone in, you filed it, they send you that letter.
Yes.
Yeah.
That becomes your solicitation permit.
Okay.
We're good.
We're on
We just
that one.
didn't hear it said that way.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Could you repeat the website that we should go to print out the 5-year tax exemption?
The DOR,
DUR?
Department of Revenue.
DOR.
Shoot, I don't have it in this one. .org. I believe it isn't. That's
State,
or
state,
just
isn't there state
gov,
gov?
yeah, state gov. Sorry, I'm looking at IRS too.
It'll be in the book, but you can Google
Right.
Florida Department of Revenue.
Right.
And it'll get you there.
And it'll get you there, but will be the new unit guide for clients 990s and taxes. It is not available yet. We are still tweaking a few things, but sometime towards the end of July, it will be on our website. It has all the email addresses. And they're all updated. Some of the IRS information was incorrect, but with it not being updated in 2 years, they changed their which division's handling what, and so we didn't want anybody sending any getting any information sent out and delaying anything you might have. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
A few years ago, former president, department president, district president, told us that we did no longer need to have our agricultural license. And so many of us did not renew. So if we have not renewed, should we go ahead and
Yes, you
get that
should.
taken care of?
Yes, you should.
Agricultural association.
Because we are not titled under chapter 37 of the U.S. Congress. We are not the Legion, and that's why, and they understand that now, that anyone who's an auxiliary is not a division, department, program of the Legion. We are a separately chartered organization. And they had asked us actually, when we were clarifying with them, to notify of units that we knew who did that, and we chose not to. We'd rather the units, we can't tell you exactly what to do, how to do it, we can provide it in a guide. We want you to do it yourselves. Just like National Camp Department, they can guide department, but they can't tell you. So it's the same way going down to the unit. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, 990 filing.
Yeah. They need to send everything to me.
Pardon?
They need to send everything to me
Yes.
when you get to it.
Right. 990s. Okay, a lot of units can file under the postcard, the 990N. There are different ones depending on your revenues. They step up, they go from the 990N to the 990 to the 990T to the there's various. So then you would have to look back at your history of how you were filing. We have found that a lot of the units are behind a year or two. Because they think, okay, now in 2023, they should be filing 2022. No. You are filing for the most current year ended. So what you're doing right now, come November, you will be filing for the period of July 1, 2022 through June 30th, 2023. On November 15th, on or before. We all have that same date. It's the IRS, they don't care about everything. Everybody's doing a certain date, that's it, period, regardless of when you joined or whatever.
Can you repeat those dates? What you would be filing for this year?
Okay, June 1st, 2022. July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023. Now, if you haven't filed, if you're one of the units that have done that, I recommend that you get caught up. We get a listing from National every year telling us who's risking their compliance. Now, I'm new at this, so this is the first time I've really got to see this voluminous report, and they have it broken down. We have currently about 30 units that have lost all their exemptions. National will be the one that will notify you of non-compliance, not department. Now with the 990s, you can be a year or two and they'll still keep you in compliance. You move over to that 3-year, then you'll be in, you will get the notice from National.
Where does the notice come from? I mean, like, how do they notify you?
It will be to the department. Department, they'll send it to your department president. I mean, your unit president, I'm sorry.
Mail.
Via email, yeah.
Mail them, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, if you're registered and have done enough business with them and you have an email address, they will probably send it to your email address. It just depends how much you've been working with National and what.
Is there a list that we can go and see if incoming new, if our unit is behind or?
In the new unit guide, which will look like this when it's completed, there are all the information you need to go in there, and anyone can look it up. There's 3 different websites. The actual and the National, they only send out 1 copy and it comes to department. We cannot represent you. They cannot represent you. If you find that you have lost your exemption and you want to get everything back in place, first of all, you're gonna get hit with $600.
Wow. We did that, Shannon.
We have to get $600.
When we started as officers, we were revoked.
Right.
We found that.
So if you lost,
President.
and that's the start of it, depending on the circumstances, there can also be penalties that then can go into thousands of dollars. You can have to retain a tax accountant or a tax attorney.
We have to.
No, we did it ourselves.
I mean, that's why I said, it just depends on the situations. That's why we don't want you to get to that point. But both department and National cannot represent you. So you will have to do this on your own. That's why we're putting the National compliance guidelines that they put in here for tax exempt status revocation. And it goes through it. What you have to do. That was not published before, and that's why, like I said, we wanted to change this book up. Some of it, most people either have who are treasurers, either have an accounting background, bookkeeping background. You have a good past treasurer or district. So we didn't want to take you all the way back to step 1, 2. There are early steps, order things. But what we want to concentrate is keeping you up and running for the future. Yes, ma'am.
How far back will they look? So, for example, I know I've been doing our 990s for the past 5 years, but I don't know what happened prior to my coming on board. And if they missed it, say in 2010 and 2011.
Well, if it was back in 2010 or 2011, you would be revoked.
Okay.
Okay. Because I've also printed out the entire list, and I printed it back to 2010 to see how many units were revoked. That's still their status is being revoked. They've had the revocation.
We'll just tell you that when I took president over 2 years ago, I saw letters that weren't even opened by the prior officers.
Right. Well,
And in the letters, when I opened, it said revoked, and they had not been paid in 5 years.
No 990 ends for 5 years.
In 5 years. Yeah. And we did have a $600 fine that had to be paid even on Jesus.
Wow.
Yeah, IRS,
It's a lot of work to get
yes,
back.
it's
It
a lot
is.
of work. I mean, we were very lucky that IRS and the state was like with South Florida, with Fort Myers and those. Everyone who lost any of their documentation, it was very easy to work with all the different agencies. But in the case where once you lose it, we can't help you.
And to confirm your statement at the beginning, we were told, don't worry about it, you're covered under the post.
Yeah, no,
True.
you do not
Now, we knew it
use,
wasn't true.
We learned the hard way.
you don't use their EIN number, you don't use their tax exempt number.
That's right.
But that's what we were told.
Everyone, all the units are separate entities, yes, they are, we do everything we can to support the Legion and the Riders and the Sons. But we are two separate organizations, and our ruling documents in many cases are different than the Legion. And I'm not trying to scare anyone. Now, this year, as you renew your solicitation permit, you file with the Division of Corporations, you file your 990s, any file of a legal document that normally, when your district president would come by for her annual visitation, she would have a little checklist. Well, we found that some of the district presidents didn't really do their fiduciary responsibilities. So now the onus is going on the units. Each time you do one of those filings, you get a confirmation page. Those confirmation pages will now be sent to treasurer@alafl.org and put in your file. That way, if there's any incidents, we can already say, okay, but we have it here. So if someone loses theirs and they're having a challenge by one of these government agencies, we will also have that copy. But it's on a go-forward basis. It's starting July 1st. Anything that you renew after this date, because there are different renewal dates, but like I said, 990s are all the 15th of November, needs to be scanned and sent to department. We want them in your files. We don't want any surprises coming up later for you or us.
So it's sent to the treasurer?
Yes. One of the other areas is, now that we've had our elections and we have new officers, who's your responsible party? Who does your 990 filing? Okay. You need to send up, you need to fill out form 88, what was that again?
20,
Yeah.
29,
28. There's so many forms, I lose track of the forms. And it's in here. What did we say it was?
8828 alpha.
That's a mortgage.
Shut up over the page, I can remember it. Here it is. Okay, IRS form 8822B, change of address or responsible party. So if your treasurer has rolled over from year to year, that's fine, you don't have to do anything. But if you have a new treasurer in place, this form needs to be completed, because then any notices going forward are still going to be going to the old treasurer. Now, some units may have emails, like department has emails for, treasurer, secretary, whatever. That's fine. But if they're using their own personal email addresses, which a lot of us do, and we get the notices, it needs to be sent in as soon as possible.
Who does that?
Yeah, the new treasurer.
Where is that one?
Where is
It's on the IRS website.
The IRS
It's
website.
on
Is that one?
I don't
Where do you find the form?
IRS.
It's on the IRS website. I mean, if you're searching, just put in IRS form 8822B. It will take you right to it. It has an instruction page and a form.
How soon is that book gonna be ready online?
Probably late July, because by the time we do this and go through boot camp, a birth of a new grandbaby, so it'll probably be the end of July.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
When they
ma'am.
fill that form out, does it go to you?
No, it goes to the IRS.
You don't need it now?
No. We've got, department gets everybody's new officers list. So we'll know who the officers are. This is just for the IRS. And the same thing happens that when you file your, anything that has a email and a password, Department of Revenue, Department of Agriculture, and there's been a transition. If it hasn't been passed along to the incoming, please try to get it. Otherwise, go in there and reset everything. Because then that person is going to be the one who gets the Department of Revenue notices, they're going to get the Department of Agriculture notices, and not the current officer. So those are just a matter of going on the individual sites and updating them. Division of Corporations. That one, there's a choice. You can go in there at any time and change information on there, or you can just do it once a year. Because it depends who you show. You don't have to list all of your officers, but if you don't have to necessarily, that's the only one I'm not concerned about. Because that's just telling anyone who looks on Sunbiz that yes, you are up to date, you're valid, incorporated, and that's nothing. Everybody needs no LLCs, no nothing. Incorporated, if it's a new unit, we don't want LLCs. We also want to remind everyone, there are 4 units, I don't think there's anyone here from those units, that are not 5013, 501C 19s. I mean, are 3s instead of 19. National is not going to require you to change them. Not like when we, I don't know how many of you have been in your positions. Years ago, we had almost every auxiliary had 2 EIN numbers. Because at some point, someone reapplied for them again. So, only if you're a new unit would you be getting the new EIN. Yes, ma'am.
Let's say you have your EIN, which is also, that's your tax ID number, right? It's all just a number, okay. And how would you go about checking to be sure that everything is in place like it should be? Because I got a notice that when I asked for it to be under the umbrella, so to speak, I think was the term.
The GM, yes, the.
And then I got a number back with that, and then I thought, and I haven't had a chance to, because we're not active in that sense. We're more community service, but I need to know like which number. I don't think my EIN number is listed as tax ID.
Well, they can, there's different acronyms they use, your EIN, your TIN, taxpayer identification number, there's one other one, do you remember?
But if it's not considered not-for-profit, then if you get a donation, people can't, to a not, you have to be registered as a not-for-profit for people to donate money to you, and then
Right.
be able to use it on their own taxes. So how do you confirm that everything is right
As a unit.
as a unit?
You go on the individual websites.
Okay, starting with the IRS, they will tell you.
Actually, to make it easier, I would actually go to National's compliance area, which is right here. I call. We'll be using their email going forwards.
Because I've